If you've been following the defamation trial of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, then you've probably witnessed a few of the photos that Amber had taken of Depp while he was passed out. Many people question why someone would do this, and during Amber's testimony, we got our answer. Amber told the jury in court on Thursday that she began taking photos like this because he wouldn't believe or would deny how out of control his substance use was, and that it would therefore be her word against his team's. She claimed that she began noticing a pattern of behavior changes that would significantly complicate life depending on what he was using. She went on to say, "I only could tell what he was using because I would have to look for clues. He'd pass out and get sick and lose control of himself. And then people would pick him up and clean him up and fix it. And he wouldn't either remember, or he would deny it, or he would accuse me of saying that this had happened when it didn't. And there was no one to back me up. It was just him, his employees, and everyone who had been taking care of him versus my word, and so I started to take pictures to say, look, this is happening." She then proceeded to admit that she began taking these sorts of photos of Depp around the 2-year mark of their relationship, and often had to look for clues that he had been using again. She goes on to say, "I started to pick up on the clues so I could figure out what I was dealing with. I understood enough about addiction to know you have to hit rock bottom, have some consequences to get better. At the time, I was already sensitive. I'd been in the relationship for over a year. I'd already noticed there was this pattern of behavior changes that would make my life significantly more complicated or peaceful or difficult or wonderful, depending on what he was using." Amber also claimed that on top of Depp not remembering any of his behavior, he would also deny that it even happened. In the multiple images shown to the courtroom, Depp could be seen sleeping in chairs and on the floor during his intoxicated states. Another photo showed him passed out with his head in a bookshelf as he slept on the floor beside a bed in their Tokyo hotel. At the time, they were traveling on a press tour, and Depp's children were also in attendance. Amber also claimed that he screamed at her while his kids were in the other room, and would often say that she was nagging him. There was also another photo shown of Depp passed out in 2013. Heard had taken the photo and said that she began taking photos again to say, look, this is happening. According to her, one of the photos was taken after a bender of his. She went on to say, "He was, on a binge where I saw him not eating, getting little to no sleep, and he would just use and drink all day long. That would go for a period of time and then a major blow up, and then he'd get sick and pass out and then feel really awful, and often including this time would start a period of sobriety after that." Another photo of Depp showed him reportedly passed out in a lawn chair, which was allegedly taken shortly after he had been sober for a bit. Amber went on to say that the couple also had disagreements about his daughter. She said that after falling in love with Depp's children, she became very protective of them. Heard even detailed that a then 14-year-old Lily had developed a crush on an 18-year-old boy and didn't want him spending the night. She went on to say, "I felt protective over Lily Rose and concerned, and naturally they're not my children, and I understand that, so I understand why Johnny got so upset with me. But she was so young, I just felt protective." I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this though, because that's all the time that we have for today. So stay classy, and I'll see you in the next one.